We're going to do a lightning quick refactor of the wizard mythical creature. Refactoring code is awesome. Hopefully you'll do a lot of it. I'm going to make a bunch more videos. And I don't like it when people talk a long time at the beginning of the video. Okay, so I've got the tests on the right, the code from a generous student who's letting me refactor their code on the left. And let's run the tests. Great, looks good. Command K clears the clipboard. Bunch passes. So first thing, I like to have a little bit of method, a little bit of space, conventional between the end and the def. Bearded by default. So this method, if name equals Ben, true, otherwise false. It's supposed to be bearded by default. So this passes the test. I interpret this command, this bearded by default, slightly differently. So if I name a wizard Josh, and then, so this is basically the same test. So Josh should be bearded by default, even though I am not bearded by default. This test will fail because this code is looking for Ben, not Josh. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the bearded by default to true, and I'm going to have this just return the bearded method, which I'm also going to add here. So at bearded equals bearded, and we're going to make this an add reader. So now bearded is just going to return the default value, so that passes. And if bearded is, okay, so here is where bearded comes in as false. So this will be set to false, and we'll be good to go. So let's inspect both of these. I'm going to put in a binding there and a binding there. So the tests will run randomly, so I don't know which I'm going to hit first, but I want to hit both of them, and that's fine. So I'll see. So this is the wizard Josh. So we expect this wizard to be bearded by default. Bearded is true. So I'll exit. Well, let me. Yeah. And now we hit the other pry. That's wizard again. That's bearded by. It's false because we passed in this false argument. We could also do like wizard. Let's see. We could do new wizard equals wizard.new. I do not have a beard, and then bearded. True, and what do we expect? This is going to be bearded, even though, yeah, we expect it not to be bearded. Okay, so that's one thing. I'll grab both of these. So I selected the pry. Command D grabs the next instance of that occurrence. So that's how I got both of those, and I hold down Control-Shift-K, I think. Yep, Control-Shift-K deletes whatever lines are selected. So that's how I did that. All right, we don't need this test anymore. So this rested method looks a little bit tricky to me. So we want test starts rested. So rested just returns true. But then we say it gets tired after casting 3 spells. So we need a way to know rested is false, true. Okay, so the thing that stuck out to me was this if such and such do this thing and then else do this other thing. So there's this thing called the guard clause here. I'll link this somewhere where it's basically guard your method with something that causes the method to exit early if some other condition is not satisfied. So in this case, we're going to say true. Here, I'll comment all this out. Like, we want rested to be true. In most cases, but down here on line 60, the wizard has done all this casting, so we don't want rested to be true. So let's hit that pry. I wanted to. Okay, so this is actually something that I'm glad to talk about. So let's say I want to hit this pry while this wizard is the one in the pry session, because right now I'm going to hit pry. Finally hit this method. So let's see, if we call self, we can see the object under test. So in this case, this is a wizard named Josh. That might be the one that we want. I'm gonna hit Control D. There's another one. So now we'll call self. And that's a wizard named Josh. Rested is 2. So this is a wizard. This is probably this wizard here and this one because we've got rested has been, I'm sorry, yeah, rested equals 2. We've got cast, rested. So this is the wizard that I want to deal with. But if I hit Control D, now you can call self, and now that's Josh where rested is 3. Control D. Okay, so we're out of that. So let's change this to not Josh, and this to Josh. Now when we run wizard test, this is important, this is going somewhere. Self, so this is how I know that this is the wizard that I want to deal with. But there's a more direct way of doing this. Let's add AAA here. Call this line, call -- n equals / AAA. Now that's gonna, sorry, this stands for name. It's gonna go through all the test names and try to find the test or the method that has AAA in it, and it's gonna run it. This is now going to be self. This is gonna be the Josh. This is the wizard that I want. We're gonna hit exit. I'm sorry, Control D, and we only ran that test. Let's say I wanted to run this one. I could do TTT, and then if I bring this up and run TTT, now it's just going to run that single test. Super handy way if you have a long test file to run individual tests. Got AAA, so I hit up arrow, bring that back. Self is this wizard, rested is 2, and we want self.rested, well, this is going to call it self. It's a really roundabout way of saying that we want to say return false if at rested is greater than or equal to 3. That was so much work just for that. This is a guard clause. If rested is greater than or equal to 3, the method exits early and returns false. Otherwise, it evaluates the last line of the method, which is return true. We can run our tests. That'll pass. Now we can run all of our tests. They'll pass. So this is the other change. Messed with bearded, and we messed with this method. More importantly, we learned a lot about testing in Pry, perhaps. All right, that's all I got.